Knock, knock! Who's there? Wendy! Wendy who? Oh, when the Saints go marching in. Oh, when the Saints go marching in.
Cheers for that, Wagner. It's episode 7 of Dogger Saints, an unofficial St Johnstone podcast. We asked Kevin Rutkiewicz about Saints, Stirling Albion and Surridge Sports. Oh, when the Glasgow Saints go marching in. And is Liam Craig destined for the top spot? All that and more.
The Saints are coming. The Saints are coming. I say no matter how I try, there's no reply. The Saints are coming. The Saints are coming. I say no matter how I try, there's no reply.
Hello, we're back once again with the Renegade Master. It's episode 7 of Dogger Saints, unofficial St Johnstone podcast. I am joined, as always, by the man that was described on Pine Bovril Forum as that guy from Blackpool with the shite microphone. It's Danny Williams.
Yeah, hello Sam. Yeah, it's me, Danny Williams. That's spelled DANNYWILLIAMS. You're listening to the Dogger Saints podcast. That's DOGGERSAINTS.
If you don't know what we reference to, it's this.
Cup final mementos if you want to go to the saintsonlineshop.co.uk to see what you can buy. That's Saints, SAINTS, onlineshop.co.uk. Don't miss out.
Yeah, if you don't know how to spell Saints, but you still manage to find the Saints TV webpage, then not much hope for you. How's your week been, Dan?
Yeah, still been on a bit of a buzz all week, mate. It's been a very pleasant week. Yeah, it was a bit of a bring back down to reality after Sunday, but it's been a good week.
Yeah, it's had its up and down. I got my knob caught in my zip at one point during the week, which you would have seen because I sent you the picture. That was...
I got running updates on this, and it was, I'm not saying it was what I wanted to hear, but it was, I'm sort of glad I did, because it was a very amusing interlude on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I just had to back that bad boy up. Yeah, we're all fine now. We're fully functioning again. And we'll move on as quickly as... We're only a minute in, and we're talking about knobs, but there we go. Right, we'll do a wee quickly roundup. Busy week in Scottish football with St Johnstone at the heart of it. We'll start with Stephen Gerhardt. He got manager of the month. Would there have been a shout for Callum to get it?
Yeah, I think there would have been. Saints have been in great form, really. You know, as we were saying about a month ago, we were still having fears about relegation. And those are no longer there, in my opinion. We're probably more looking at top 6, and there's a cup win. So, and it was obviously it was a cup affiliated with the league, so I think that'd be sufficient grounds. I mean, look, Rangers have done what they've done all season. They've had a great month, obviously, and they're on the brink of, by the time this goes to where they could be league champions, and they are. We've known for a long time they're going to be league champions, but it's nothing out of the ordinary for them. They've done nothing outstanding.
Do you think it's down to, do they just look at the stats? Like Rangers were undefeated for the month of February. Saints had a couple of defeats in Rangers and Celtic. Will they just put it down to that? Or do they go into the finer details, you think, where, oh, look, Saints won the cup?
Yes and no. I think, and if they have done, it's a fine ground. There's no, you can't really have any arguments against it if they've done it like that. But Martindale won it a couple of months ago, admittedly, when Livy went unbeaten, but Rangers also picked up more points than them in that time. So, yeah, it's one of them. I don't think Callum will be losing any sleep over it, but yeah, it's a bit of a funny one.
Yeah, well, but Rangers have been in the media certainly quite a bit. You might have seen on our Dogger Saints Twitter page, which kind of blew up when we posted a couple of photos. One representing St Johnstone last Sunday at McDermott after the final, where we were described as flouting lockdown rules. Next to a photo of Rangers fans yesterday who were described as having a party.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go into the rights and, well, it's no rights really, into the wrongs of it all, of either incident. But yeah, it's the consistency in the reporting. Really, it's almost like, I mean, it's a whole Daily Ranger cliche with the record. Yeah, again, the rights and wrongs of that, but just be consistent. Both incidents were as bad as each other. And, you know, we're not saying anyone's right. I mean, obviously there's more people outside Ibrox or whatever, which is fine. But yeah, just stop pandering to the people that are going to give you as many clicks and just say it as it is. It wasn't, it was a party, but it was a party that shouldn't have been happening. And then there's other issues with, look, fans are going to do what fans do. And it's really hard to stop. But I've not actually seen anything that posted today. But like the players go into the gates and all that. I mean, I'm going to come out with an awful pun here. Football's taken a bit of a kicking through all this. And Rangers have had a couple of incidents. Do you know what? Fair enough. It's people make mistakes. And there was one very recently, obviously, with a couple of Rangers players at a party. Well, people make mistakes. People do stuff they shouldn't do against the restrictions. Fine. But when you're under that much of a microscope, going up to the gate and basically egging them on, because that's just going to get picked up on.
Yeah.
And the more stuff like that happens, and the more those sort of inside the game, as in players and officials and whatnot, they seem to be sort of going against the rules or egging on going against the rules, the longer it's going to take, it's just going to look worse. And this whole idea, that's a wrong idea for me, that, football can't be trusted. I think it's just going to go on longer, and it'll be longer until we're all back together. And I totally get it. I totally get why those Rangers fans were outside Ibrox yesterday. I totally get why the Saints fans went to McDermott last Sunday, because you want to celebrate, and it's a momentous thing. But yeah, it's just going to take us longer. But back to the reporting, just be consistent.
One thing I've noticed from newspapers and football fans in general is they love thinking that there's a media bias against them. That's every club in the land think that the media is out to get them, or don't report on enough, or think that they're anti-Hibs, anti-Saints, anti-Rangers, anti-Celtic, which is always great to watch. Anyway, we'll move on swiftly to better news, and we started our campaign last week for getting Nick Dazovic into the St Johnstone Hall of Fame. It's done very well so far.
It has, and a big thanks to everyone who's got involved with that. Seen loads of people immediately. I get the notifications up on my phone for the social channels and stuff like that, and it was just going absolutely berserk. I didn't actually know we'd posted it, and I was like, "What's this? What's going on?" So no, it's absolutely brilliant. It's taken off fantastically well, and so thank you to everyone who's got involved again. And we even had a very lovely message from the man himself.
We did indeed. He messaged us on Twitter to say thanks very much. He was very gracious that we were thinking of him, and he was wondering if we'd sobered up or not. No is the answer to that.
No, I think I probably did myself a bit of credit there and hung you out to dry. I said I was doing all right, but I couldn't speak for you.
No, I was still... I'm just about there now, to be fair. I'm just about there. The photo is still on our Twitter page, Facebook page, and on Instagram. Take a screenshot, crop out the rest of the stuff and post it. Just tag us and St Johnstone in it, and hopefully they'll get the message soon. So after the big cup win on Sunday, we were back in league action on Wednesday against Hamilton. Not the most glamorous of locations to make a return.
No, I've never been to the Lord Mayor's show, nor any of the events that come after it. But that was the feeling that I got. I think it'd be very much like the Hamilton game on Wednesday night.
We said there'd be changes, wholesale changes. We were kind of half right. We're not very good at predicting anything on this podcast. We did say in the cup final, Melamed will start. Didn't happen. But May, Melamed, Tanzer and Bryson came in for Kane, Conway, Booth and McCann. So there was some changes, certainly. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah, and it wasn't as bad a prediction as my just outright statement last week. It wasn't even a prediction. It was me categorically stating that the Scottish Cup won't restart before we'd even gone to air.
Yeah.
Release dates of the fixtures. So don't listen to us on anything. Anyway, yeah, back to the Hamilton game. Yeah, a few changes. Yeah, whether they came off or not, I don't know. Look, it was never going to be an easy game. Hamilton are doing their usual shenanigans around this time of year. So there was that. The lads would have been tired. And yeah, so all told, it was just a good point. It was a working man's performance, I think you'd say. Nothing really got flowing at all. But it was absolutely fine. It's a fine point. I mean, Ross Callaghan's goal was tremendous for them. Not at all sort of regretting the fact that we let him go. But well, that's another thing for another time. But all told, their keeper had a really good game as well. Pulled off a couple of great saves. I mean, Guy could have had a hat-trick.
Yeah. He did score a good goal, though.
It wasn't a bad goal, was it? It was the whole package, really, wasn't it? I mean, obviously the touch, we've all talked about the touch. Everyone talked about the touch. But the ball in from Liam Gordon, absolutely tremendous. And to be honest with you, it was going to need a touch of magic because nothing was really happening out wide, particularly when Rooney went off, which was a bit of a dampener. Nothing was really coming from out wide. Never got anything going there. There was snuffing out anything we tried to play through the middle. Did miss Chris Kane and the sort of focal point he provides up front. So to get that ball, it wasn't a long ball over the top because I think that makes it sound like a hoof. say it was a long cultured pass. A long cultured aerial pass through the middle of the park. It was a great touch. It was the finish was really impressive for me as well, because it was that quick. He's got it down, and then he's had to shoot that quick. So he's not really got any backlift on it. So basically a little bit of a stab, but to get that much power on it, and the keeper just had no chance. So yeah, a great goal, a good point.
Probably a better point for us than it was Hamilton, I would say.
Yeah, they need wins desperately. We're sort of entering that weird purgatory, I think, where teams between 5th and 7th in the league around the time of the split and post-split.
Finish Hamilton 1, St Johnstone 1, which leads us on to... That is correct, a Twitter poll. So we put 2 Saints fans and Twitter followers alike the following, Dan.
We did. We asked which was the best goal, and we gave you 3 options. And the first option we gave you garnered 1% of the vote. In 3rd place, it was Dennis Bergkamp versus Leicester City in 1997, a 3-3 draw, and it was part of a hat-trick. And it's a fantastic touch and turn, and then a lovely finish into the far corner from the non-flying Dutchman. In 2nd place, with 2% of the vote, it was the famous Dennis Bergkamp goal versus Argentina, last minute of the 1998 World Cup quarter-final. Holland taking a 2-1 victory, one of the great goals of all time. A lovely touch round the defender, and then left Carlos Roa grasping for air. But the worthy winner, with 97% of the vote, was Guy Melamed against Hamilton Accies on Wednesday night. It was just a fantastic goal. Beautiful ball in from Liam Gordon, and then the touch and the finish from Guy. And well done to the 3% of you out there who didn't get the joke.
Yep, a worthy Twitter poll, unbiased winner, I feel.
Yeah, and plus we didn't include the one against Newcastle because it was a fluke.
But there we go. That's our Twitter poll. Easy as that. We'll have another one for you next week.
The Saints are coming. The Saints are coming. I say no matter how I try.
So we've got an interesting first guest today, Dan. Kyle Burgess and his band We Came From Wolves recorded a version of The Saints Are Coming, which we use in our title music. It's actually a charity single for a charity he's involved in called Glasgow Saints. So as a Perth local, but a Glasgow resident now, Saints fan Kyle Burgess.
How are you guys?
First of all, we have to give our thanks to Kyle, lent us their charity single, The Saints Are Coming, which was originally by the Skids, so thanks for that, Kyle. And it is for charity.
Yeah, it was myself and my good friend John Harkis, who's a producer in Perth, John Harkis Audio. Yeah, we created the track for a bit of promo for the charity football team I run, Glasgow Saints. But as I said, was happy to lend it to the cause. Love the podcast, so it's great to hear it there.
You can come back on with chat like that. Tell us about Glasgow. Tell us about Glasgow Saints.
Yeah, so I moved to Glasgow about 9 years ago and had just played in various kind of amateur teams and stuff, and always thought there was something a wee bit more could be done by, being in a group of so many lads who usually care about the kind of causes in the community. So I thought, put my money where my mouth is. My wife, who you know, Nick, she works in a youth arts charity in Glasgow, Impact Arts. So we've always kind of been quite switched on to, helping a wee bit at local food banks and things like that. But obviously everyone could do a bit more, and it's not to lambast anyone into that. We've all got busy lives. But I thought if I'm spending, twice a week and then a Sunday all getting together, working towards something, we could use this kind of energy a little bit better. So it started with the goal of simply creating a club, getting into a league, and with the very basic ethos that we would double our match fees on a Sunday and give that to the local food bank.
Brilliant.
From there, it's grown arms and legs. We're able to donate through the whole of COVID since we started a year ago, £250 minimum to our food bank every month. We've raised thousands for kind of anti-sectarianism charities, which is obviously pretty big in Glasgow, for asylum seekers, for refugee charities, for night shelters, and just kind of got boots on the ground and helped in loads of ways that we could in the communities, and down at kind of Christmas Day food shelters, and just really doing what we can whilst all getting together to play football.
It's a great cause all round. You're based in Denniston?
Yeah, that's right. So obviously the lockdowns made things pretty tricky in terms of actually playing football, but the strength of the board and all the volunteers and the sponsorships and partnerships we have is really just snowballed. So we've done a lot off the pitch, and we're just looking forward to actually kicking a ball.
I was going to say, did you play before lockdown?
We had 4 pre-season friendlies, and was just kind of getting into our league. So we had only one league in mind to join, was the GCCL, and I've played in that with a couple of other kind of clubs who are pretty switched on to community stuff. It stands for the Glasgow Community and Cooperative League.
Okay.
So at the crux of that, they expect the teams that play in their leagues to just do something. That could be, there's a team there that's all around men's mental health. There's a team that's set up purely for letting refugees have a place to play and welcome into the city. Some just pay some money a year to charities, so it can be as much or as little as you want. So we had the ethos of alleviating the issues of food poverty and isolation within our doorstep. So it could be people with loads of money in their pocket, but they're sitting in their flats with no outreach, no community. Want to help those people out and bring them along, whether it's to support, get involved, to play, as well as raise money for those who need a bit of support.
Brilliant. It's obviously the charity is called Glasgow Saints, the affiliation with St Johnstone being from yourself. How would people contribute if they wanted to?
Yeah, so again, going back to, I'm a massive St Johnstone fan, obviously, since a wee boy living in Perth. But it's not just a St Johnstone fan team. I was inspired, obviously. You can't help but be, and there was a lot of names on the table. We have a wee kind of etymology graph of how we came up with our logo, which is very close to St Johnstone, but there is some tweaks and stuff.
Legally, very different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. We basically set that up to be a wee nod to it, but not to be exclusive to St Johnstone fans, of course. If people want to support, we have obviously all the social pages, and that's just at Glasgow Saints FC. We have membership opportunities, so from little as £10 a year, you can be part of the club, have a say in the AGMs and future decisions of the club, get exclusive merch and a wee pin badge, which serves a wee like Blue Peter badge to some discounts and kind of partnerships and stuff. And yeah, you can donate there. There's PayPal links there as well. But our range of merch is actually pretty cool. Snazzy kits. We managed to get tenants signed up early on, which was amazing. They're an East End Glasgow institution, obviously, so They really wanted to help people. So very nice replica kits and a range of other merchandise, from T-shirts, mugs. We've even got a commemorative tea towel, which is firmly tongue-in-cheek. And that can all be found at glasgowsaints.bigcartel.com. But you can just Google that or find it on the socials. I've also spoke to the guys, and we're happy to give your listeners 10% off if they would like. So that they just type in Dogger Saints, all one word, at checkout, and they get 10% off anything. But all the money we make from merch, every single penny, goes straight back into the club. No one makes anything from this. So whether that be our £250 a month to the food bank, whether that be on pitches, whether that be on putting coaching sessions to people who don't have access to football, every single penny goes back into it.
Brilliant. Well, it's a superb cause. We'll relay all that information back at the end of the podcast.
Fantastic gesture. Thank you very much, Kyle.
No, it's a great cause. We were delighted to have you on. How's, obviously no gigging at the moment either with the band. What's the big plans with that when everything gets back to normal?
So we've just been obviously we were pretty an active band back in the day. Toured Europe a lot, even played Tea in the Park and stuff, and great shows in Perth, Glasgow, all across. The last thing we did was tour Europe, but that was now 2 years ago. So we'd kind of stopped the touring cycle, as a couple of us were starting businesses, getting married. It was meant to be a year out and then write the new album. Turned into, with lockdown, 2 years out. Been a bit of a nightmare, but us and the boys have just been kind of getting together, chatting with the producer who's down south, and we're kind of putting plans in place to be recording the album end of this year. So probably another quiet year in terms of upfront, but behind the scenes working really hard, and probably 2022 I'll be kind of back to full force touring and stuff.
Plenty of time to watch Saints. You watched the cup final, I presume?
Yeah, of course. Really, it was quite, I was sat in my surroundings feeling quite sad, to be honest, if I'm being honest, obviously, because, I'd pinned the scarves and the T-shirts outside the window for all who cared. And then Derriston, which wouldn't be a lot of people, and, sitting watching the game, but you want to be with all your friends and family. And, obviously I would have been at the game, but even if not, I would have been in Perth with with everyone who loves St Johnstone. So yeah, it was a shame, but obviously that's a wee side note to how amazing it is. I mean, I never thought we'd get to a final or see another cup being lifted, especially not, within 7 years. So
No.
absolutely amazing.
You're lucky enough to be closer to the ground than us, though, to be fair.
Yeah, I did kind of swiver, would I go down to Hampden like some people had, but I thought like it was quite lame. No offence to those who did it, but just standing there trying to wave to Sean Rooney,
So, well, after seeing Ibrox yesterday, I don't blame you for not going down. Absolute shambles. Kyle, 100%. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We thank Kyle again for coming on and his gifting of his tune, The Saints Are Coming, by We Came From Wolves, and that is downloadable with all money going to charity as well. Is that right? That's right.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Kyle, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Great guy, great cause, great gesture. Kyle Burgess, what a nice guy.
Yeah, fantastic, and a fantastic initiative Kyle and the rest of the guys down there in Glasgow have got going on, and what a wonderful gesture to offer all our listeners 10%.
We'll post all the details on our socials, how you can get involved with that and support that brilliant charity.
Chance for a shooting for Liam Craig, and it's a goal for St Johnstone. Liam Craig, a beautiful left foot shot, 25 yards out, 16 minutes on the clock. St Johnstone 1, Hibs 0.
So from Glasgow Saints back to Perth Saints. So we were back in action again on Saturday, the third game of the week against Hibs at home, a team we'd pumped in the Scottish Cup semi-final 3-0. We lost marginally at McDermott at the start of the season with a last-minute penalty and a 2-2 draw at Easter Road. What would happen this time round? We only got a bloody victory, Dan.
We did get a victory, and a very, very good one at that. Callum Davison comes out after the match, says, probably our worst performance of the season. I wouldn't go that far. I've watched several games against Aberdeen this season.
Livy away was bad the first time round.
Oh, Livy away. Oh, that was bad. Yeah, basically. It's probably been our worst performance recently, maybe since Christmas. But it's sometimes you've got to do that. And we've played very well in some games and lost. And you can't just rely on playing your best to win games. So I actually thought it was a very impressive performance in a different way. I thought they showed a lot of resolve. A little bit different. They were tired. I think the break next week will do a lot of players the world of good. And you got to think about it as well. It's not just the physical tiredness. It's the emotional tiredness, because what do you not want coming right off the back of the biggest highs you've ever had in your career? For most of the lads, the biggest high they've had in their career to date, an away game at Hamilton.
Yeah, it's a bit like having your wedding in Vegas and flying back to have your honeymoon at Craig Tarrant. As close as I can think about it, anyway, certainly. If
anybody listening has actually done that, let us know.
Is it the same as winning the cup at Hampden and then going to Hamilton on Wednesday? Sorry to interrupt you, Dan. You crack on.
I can't even remember what I was up to. Yeah, actually, I'm just so it was Saints all season, really. And yesterday, I think, was the best example of it coming off when it doesn't go well, because the team, the whole, is far greater than some of its parts. And the system's more important. I'm not going to go all stats away because I'm shit at it and it's also really boring. But what I saw yesterday was a great example of guys coming in to the side and just having to work to the system, like sort of leaving the natural game at the door. And the biggest example of that was Michael O'Halloran.
Yep.
When we saw the team come out, like, is that O'Halloran at right back or right wing back? He's never played that far back in his life. He's a centre forward or a winger.
He did well.
He did so well. And actually, I thought, right, I get where he's thinking here. He's going to be able to come in and do Rooney's attacking job, and you're leaving the defensive side of things to the centre halves. No, it was his defensive work that was brilliant. He didn't have many opportunities to get forward. He didn't have many big moments going forward. Defensive work, he was so solid. Absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, and I mean, he's a guy that, along with Stevie May, who came on for the last 20 minutes when Chris Kane was flagging and did a brilliant job, I thought. I thought he was fantastic when he came on. These are guys that were formerly sort of very important, and maybe under the new regime, that importance has gone down a little bit. Yeah, they spend a lot of time on the bench.
Yeah, they're certainly under scrutiny at the moment mainly for being high earners, but I think what people are thinking is if we manage to get May and O'Halloran off the wage bill, it'll free up a wage to maybe bring in Guy Melmet. It won't free up a wage for somebody else. It'll just free up a wage to stop the club sinking. That's what it will. It will not go back into a player's budget.
It's exactly that. Times are tough for football clubs. But these guys who came in yesterday, particularly O'Halloran, playing the 90 minutes, It was a bit of a surprise. I thought Brown had come in. As soon
Yeah.
as it looked like Rooney was out, I thought Brown had come in sort of like for like. But they did fantastically well. But other than that, I mean, there wasn't much doing from the game. It was a grafter's performance.
Yeah, I texted my friend who's a Hibs fan. I said him we were lucky to get the 3 points, and he said no, you weren't, because he knew after about 20 minutes that they would not score a goal. So we managed to score a goal though. However, Liam Craig, the effervescent Liam Craig.
It was a fantastic goal as well, wasn't it, Sam?
That was lovely. Yeah.
Beautiful finish. And it was something we used to see him do quite a lot of, getting in those areas. We've not really seen it too much this season in the games he's played. But so it was nice to see him do that. He's still got it in the locker. And what a week he's had.
3 games in a week, and he's been outstanding in every single one of them. All for different reasons. One for managing to get some kind of Jason Holt and a British Bulldog during the cup final, which was nice. I think he was genuinely going for a body-to-body suplex. It was a rare treat. Had a good game against Hamilton, spraying the ball about, just doing what Liam Craig does, and yesterday's getting the goal. So that kind of brings us on to our next point regarding Liam Craig. Do you think he will overtake Stephen Anderson as our record all-time appearance thing? I know there's a couple of ifs and buts.
The big if, and indeed the big but, is if he gets a new contract, because he's on the out of contract list at the minute. Maybe he might have played himself into a new contract this week, and certainly the last month or so. I still think he's got an awful lot to offer. I think if he does stay, he'll get ahead of Stevie Anderson. Probably just naturally, because he's going to play. We've got a few games left this season. That'll do the bulk of the work. I think that could take him into single figures if he plays every game for the rest of the season or makes an appearance in every game.
Yeah, I looked at the figures. You notice we're one for fine detail, Dan. I looked at the figures.
We're diligent right enough.
Oh, geez. Oh, this could be well off the mark. But we reckon if he played every game until the end of the season and we get to the final of the Scottish Cup and he plays in every single one of these games, he'll be 6 away. So
there was a lot of ifs in there that I didn't like, Sam. If we get to the final in the Scottish Cup.
We don't need to now, do we?
I don't do the double, mate.
I would just like to just hit Dundee for 10, just get them to fuck. There's a good chance. I can't see him getting another contract. I think he's bought himself one. He plays well. He's a big leader, and I can see him going on the coaching role as well, or taking over the reserves or something like that, because I think that's his natural progression.
Well, exactly that. And we were talking to Richie Foster a few weeks ago, and he was talking about leaders in the dressing room and all that. And there is a good mix in that Saints dressing room of experienced guys and younger guys. Actually, in terms of time spent at the club, it's probably the younger guys that have spent a lot, rather than the guys like Conway and Bryson. But so to have someone like Liam Craig, who sort of crosses the divide, he's a senior player in sort of a similar age bracket to, as I say, Bryson and Conway. His longevity at the club, and he's grown up with guys. He's seen guys like Kerr and Gordon grow up at the club, and Xander Clark. So yeah, I think he's an important figure in the dressing room. He looks fit. He still looks fit. He looks more than capable in there. And I don't see too many reasons why he wouldn't get a new contract. And if he doesn't get one at Saints, he'll probably get one somewhere else and do pretty well there. So, yeah, even if he's not first pick, you'd still want him about the place.
If he was to sign a new deal, will he overtake Stephen Anderson?
Yes.
So which means no, going by our form.
Yeah, absolutely. So just last few thoughts on the Hibs game. So obviously the goal came pretty early on in the game, in the first half, and then the rest of the performance was about. It became pretty apparent that the rest of the performance was going to be about not conceding, because maybe we're clicking and attacking sense. Chris Kane and Guy Melamed, neither of whom had the best games. Both of whom ended up being hooked. And actually a bit of a word for Callum Davidson there, because I thought he made the subs and changed the system at the right times. I think he recognised that maybe it wasn't happening with the two up front, got Conway on for Guy, and changed the system. And it looked like your pal said, Hibs never looked like scoring, but a big part of that was because of how fantastically well the Saints back three played.
Yeah, McCart's really stepping into that role now, Like, the back three are the first 3 names in the team sheet every single week.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I may have had a few things to say early in the season about 3 at the back being the modus operandi, but no, it's working. And again, it's the pragmatism of the manager in that he recognises the best sort of system and setup for the players available. And those 3, McCart, I thought he was very good when he first came as well, but he's really kicked on recently. Liam Gordon, and vice captain now, he's starting to look like a a real leader in the team. And Jason Kerr, I mean, we've been talking about Sean Rooney possibly getting a call up for Scotland. Jason Kerr's form, I think, would more than put him in Steve Clarke's mind. He's a real leader. He's playing some fantastic football, and thankfully we've given up on the idea of him as being Lothar Matthäus like the start of the season when he was playing in the back three and some reason ending up in their 18-yard box.
Nothing wrong with that. But we won the game 1-0, moves us well within touching distance of top six, but it's time for another guest. So our next guest joined the club in 2004 and was John Connolly's first signing. In his 123 appearances for the club, he managed to lift the League Challenge Cup, gain promotion and captain the club for 3 years. He's the current Stirling Albion manager, and I'm delighted to welcome Kevin Rutkiewicz. How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem at all. Glad to have you here. You were co-coms on Wednesday night against Hamilton. How was it? Apart from cold.
Aye, pretty cold. Listen, it was good. It was, obviously I'm well used to watching games now. Not quite the same as playing. But it was nice. It was good to commentate the first game after clinching the League Cup with the Saints, and it was lovely to see some of my ex-teammates still plying their trade at the highest level in Scottish football. And we were treated to a game with two wonderful goals, and it finished on a great note, obviously, for St Johnstone with a great goal for Guy, but kudos to an ex-Saints. Both players that scored actually played for St Johnstone.
That's right, yeah.
I guess in a way it was a good night all round.
Hamilton just seem to do it every single year. We discuss this often. When I've no idea, they just seem to turn up in February and still do it. So fair play to them for doing as well as they do.
I think the great trick about Hamilton is they know what they are. That there's no airs or graces about them. It doesn't surprise them if they're in that bottom three, bottom four in February, March, and there's no panic for Hamilton. You can, even publicly in the media, there's a sense that there's just no panic. You see other clubs maybe getting pulled into this battle a wee bit down there, Kilmarnock, Ross County, and there's a wee bit of euphoria, a wee bit of panic about those clubs, But Hamilton just seem to stay streamlined, and and listen, they've got a system there that works, and fair play to them. They don't deviate away from it too much.
No, they'll probably survive once again. Right, we'll go into your Saints career. You were John Connolly's first signing in 2004. You were in Aberdeen before. How was your time in Aberdeen? How did you end up coming to play for Saints?
To represent a club of Aberdeen stature, first of all, was a terrific honour, and I probably value it more now than I did at that time, to be honest. Young, immature, no appreciating the opportunity that was given to me, and you take it for granted. But I had some wonderful memories at Aberdeen. I captained the club, played for them in Europe, to a couple of cup finals. Good memories, and amongst a lot of regret. But I think ultimately, to be honest, I just wasn't good enough to a player to play with Aberdeen and take Aberdeen where they wanted to go as a club. Which was that top three, top four. We had one season. Obviously, we finished in Europe in that top 3-4 position, and that was a bit of a unique experience in my time at Aberdeen. But which shows you where the club were at. And to be honest, they needed better than what I could offer at that time. So coming to St Johnstone, Jimmy Calderwood had come in. I'd spoke briefly with Jimmy, and the soft offer of a squad player at Aberdeen was there. I would be used sparingly. I certainly wouldn't be. And I was a bit of a utility player there as well. I'd been playing full back, centre forward, believe it or not, centre midfield, right back, left back. And at 23, 24, I thought, I need to go and announce what I am. What do I want to be? And when John Connolly had spoken to me, he wanted to play me centre back in what I seen as my natural position. And that immediately became obviously the attraction. And I think my first ever squad, actually, believe it or not, with Aberdeen was against St Johnstone at McDermott Park. So my memories of St Johnstone were a high-profile club, Premier League club that had just maybe lost its way, fallen out, but certainly looking to get back into the Premier League.
That first season you were with them, things didn't really go to plan that year. Numerous reasons. John Connolly, he was the one the fans wanted in because he was a club legend, still is, even after his managerial spell with the club. He's still considered one of the greatest Saints of all time. What was it down to that obviously the goal would have been promotion and we fell well short of that. What would that have been down to?
Players.
Yeah.
John Connolly came in, he'd been very, very successful at Queen of the South, and with limited resources. He came into the club, signed Michael Moore, who was a young striker, tearing it up in Division 3 at the time.
Stranraer, wasn't it?
Yep, David Hanna, Lee Hardy, myself, you know, I mean, I can't remind them all of it, you know, the big Sean for Ross County, centre back. I mean, the squad was there. Sean Webb, that's it. Sorry, Shawnee. The squad was there. But ultimately, you know, now that I'm on the other side, you know, when you're a player, you find excuses and you find reasons as to why you're not performing and why the team aren't performing. Generally, the wave always starts, the fingers start to go to the manager, to the outside, you know, the media, the fans start to turn the manager because he's signed the players, he's put them together, he trains them. But when the players cross that white line, you know, it's really up to us as a team to do the manager a favour, you know, every week. And we just didn't, you know, and I let John down yet again. You know, I'm comfortable now in my skin to say that, you know, I wasn't approaching it right at that point in my career. I'd lost my way and certainly wasn't being as professional as what I should have been. And probably that then transferred itself for me, not being able to give 100%, even though I thought I might have been initially. So I'll certainly, you know, I'll take, you know, a great deal of responsibility because I was his first signing. I did have a big influence in that change room. And I didn't backstab him. I didn't go out my way to get John Connolly the sack, but unconsciously, my approach at that time, wee bit immature, you know, probably didn't allow me to be my best self, and that probably was the case for a number of players. But I don't want to speak for anybody. They'll all have their own opinions on it. That's my opinion, you know, and I feel as if I could have maybe given my best at that time, maybe a few other players might have done the same. Things could have been a lot different right now. So, but it is what it is, and you know, there's no point in looking back. So it was unfortunate for John, as you say, club legend, great player. I think we should look back in that and say the players' reputations were tarnished and not the managers.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Refreshing to hear that as well. If you look through the squads going back then, 04, 05, 05, 06, 06, 07, you actually see the makings of the players and that coming in that was going to challenge that your Martin Hardys and Simon Mensing, players like this coming in now. You could see the quality was starting to come in. Mainly throw in Coyle, and we were awfully unlucky. I think you were out injured at the time, going to the last game of the season at Hamilton. James Grady scored a 93rd minute goal. Were you at the ground that day?
Yes, I mean, the memory, the outstanding memory, obviously, is Stevie Millen, Saville, who was injured on the day as well. Was he injured? I don't think he played against Hamilton when we beat them, but he came into the changing room. He was in the shower area, you know, and we're all sitting there sort of thinking, I think we've done it here, you know, and it's been a tremendous run for the boys, you know, where there was a lot of, you know, the semi-finals at Tynecastle, there was a lot of just good momentum in that period, and Saville, you know, sort of broke the news, and you know, you could just hear a pin drop. I mean, it sort of went from borderline euphoric, you know, to morgue-like. I mean, really quiet. Then that sort of did you know, wanting confirmation of what had actually happened, or has it happened, and when the reality sort of set in, you know, it was just an overall feeling of disappointment, you know. It was all difficult, you know, and difficult for me even now, but certainly for the players. Derek McInnes, who was, you know, a vital cog in that midfield that allowed Martin Hardy to score, I think, 15 or 16 goals that season.
Yeah, it was massive that year.
There was a load of players there, you know, who put an awful lot into, you know, being a success. Kevin James had certainly changed my mentality. You know, players like him arriving allowed me to become, you know, the player that eventually was for St Johnstone. I'd like to think that, you know, I paid back to the club some of the sort of early, you know, mishaps where I wasn't quite, you know, the player that they thought they were getting. But huge disappointment on the day.
Yeah, just not to dwell too much on that day, Kevin. It's obviously such a sore one for, you know, yourselves as players and fans alike. But just one sort of aspect of it, just interested to find out whether this is more sort of a bugbear for fans or whether it affected the players as well. You lost out to Gretna that day, who had their own unique way about the going through the divisions, shall we say. That adds to the bit, you know, any bitterness or adds to the probably more disappointment, I should say, or was it just, sorry?
Were you annoyed Gretna bought the league?
Listen, every club's got their own model, you know, and they're absolutely entitled to buy into that model, support it and push it through as they see fit. I think for me, it was that had no bearing, or there was no ill feeling on the day about that. I think the feeling came probably when the following season Gretna went bust, and you know that was the And listen, I take no pleasure, and I'm sure none of us do in the game, but that was a sort of "we told you so" moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as a club like St Johnstone, who were doing things that were trying to improve, but also the club were trying to put a model in place that was sustainable and would supersede any management or players leaving, because, you know, it was something that would never cripple the club. Whereas, you know, Gretna had taken a huge gamble and they'd achieved one guy's dream, but ultimately they hadn't put anything in place there that said that club could survive after, you know, the late, I forget his name.
Brooks Milson.
The late Brooks Milson, God rest his soul and all that. But I mean, so I think that for me is when, you know, we were still in the Championship, and I was looking at that going, I mean, that was worth it. For all 8 months, you know, the sort of embarrassments of not being able to fulfil fixtures and stuff, and try to find a new home to ground share, and, you know, I don't know. That for me is when the bitterness came in a wee bit. But listen, by that point, we had our own agendas, and the club was still moving forward. So you concentrate and pushing that, you know.
Well, indeed, until Tommy Wright and Callum Davison won a cup, Sandy Stewart was our most successful ever manager with the Challenge Cup win, with his one match in charge. I think you came off the bench at Dens against Dunfermline, winning a cup with a club, so it was a good feeling.
Aye, it was Owen had left us to go to pastures new down at Burnley, and deserved his chance. Sandy, you know, there was no, on the day we just didn't know what was happening, to be honest, in terms of longer term, but Sandy had been in for a while and we all knew him very well. Honest guy, you know, and certainly somebody with a great knowledge of the Scottish game. You know, he'd been at Airdrie and played in Scotland all his career, so it was a good day. You know, we raced into the game, raced ahead, had it all but one, and then all of a sudden the second half it all got a wee bit nervy. But you know, I think the venue made it a wee bit special. Always good to get a win there, and you know, obviously just to get your hands in the silverware, and then obviously after that, you know, the pleasure of the league, the Championship campaign. But I know, I mean, it was a real good feeling that day, and some great memories and pictures with, you know, certain players in that squad that will forever live in the memory.
We'll touch on Stirling Albion at the moment. You're going to have a return soon, return to play.
Yeah, we had our first coronavirus test day yesterday, and managed to train the players in very small groups in a sort of fitness test, non-contact environment, and we'll get into it on Tuesday proper. So
how are they feeling?
I mean, listen, I'm trying to deal with 20 boys desperate for a game of football. You know, it's like they're chatting a bit. They want to play. I want to see them play, and I don't want to criticise anybody. I think League One and League Two clubs have been treated a wee bit unfairly. I don't think there was any major, you know, events that happened in the lower leagues that suggested that we were being a problem in this, you know. But it is what it is. We deal with it. We're very, very grateful for the opportunity to get back, and as I say, we just want to play football.
You were absolutely flying before it got stopped last time round. You're sitting joint second at the moment?
Aye, we're joint second, we're going well, and you know, sort of a few new signings had integrated well into the squad, and, you know, looking to push a very strong, similar to Gretna type team all the way.
I was going to mention Queen's Park, yeah.
Listen, Queen's Park they've got a very different model, but they've certainly got the riches. But again, you know, fair play to them, and, you know, just I hope that the romance of Queen's Park never dies. You know, it's a great club in Scottish history. But aye, so anyway, we're just looking forward to getting back.
Good stuff. Dan?
Yeah, just on the club as a whole, Ken, because I've actually been down there and I've done a bit of a hospitality being all there. It's absolutely fantastic setup you've got going on down there. I had a great day, and I think, if I remember correctly, it wasn't long after you took over and you got a win, so I think you came and spoke to us all and you were a happy boy. But is that sort of the next step really in growing the club as a whole, is just promotion? What happens on the pitch feed into the general makeup of the club? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, my job obviously here is to get a team, you know, put together a squad that can be successful. You know, the club had fell behind a wee bit, just in terms of, you know, the overall where we're at in football. Football's changing, and as you know, guys, the picture changes every day, every week, every month, every year. Technology, all the rest of it. You know, we've now, since I've come in, we've employed our sort of first head of scouting, believe it or not, club's first ever. We've got our club's first ever performance analysis and data guy in, who's now got a team of 3 working below him. So again, and getting the job, what I expressed to the board was you've got to put something that supersedes me and supersedes the next manager, and that very much came back to Sam's point about, that squad that St Johnstone put together and the structure that Derek had brought in, he put something in place there that you can break it, dip in and out of it, you can go above maybe the parameters, but you must always work within that sphere, and it's something very similar, and it's obviously these things I've learned looking at managers and how they work, and you want to add your own flavour, but listen, our goal is promotion, but sustainable promotion, we don't, I think the club was once nicknamed the Yo-Yos actually because they were famous for coming up and down, so you don't want to be that, we want to get there into League One, consolidate and be strong enough to stay there and be competitive. And ultimately kick on. I mean, after I spent a long time after that season, I was injured. My first game back was at McDermott Park for St Johnstone against Stirling Albion in the Championship. We drew 2 each and I scored a goal. And that's my memory of Stirling Albion, as a player. They were the kind of one of the best park teams in there, like Abros and Allows at the minute, who are in the Championship vein. So that's got to be the overall goal. But listen, the journey, Danny, between where we are now and there's a long and hard one. So, but we're prepared to do the hard work, and hopefully, I would love to be the guy that steers the club in that direction, and learn, and because I've got my own ambitions, obviously, to try and get as high as I possibly can. Yeah, I think, my first full season in charge. By the way, I've not had a full season yet.
I was about to say, you've been there. You'll get a testimonial without even playing a full seaon.
When we started last year, we had a 32-player turnover. Start of last season, it was huge, and we lost our first 7 games by 1 goal, and it was hard. It was, and I'm not going to sit here and lie. I thought that the moment might be coming where the board just had to change it. It's the reality of football. But they backed me, they stayed with me, and I feel that we're bearing the fruits of that continuity now. And it's allowed the squad to sort of develop and mature together.
Brilliant. Well, I'll go back to Saints then. You won promotion. You're club captain. That's a proud moment for any player, surely.
Listen, I've had some great times at football clubs for different, in different reasons, different competitions, different games that sort of the muscle memory always keeps. But I mean, there's just a lot about that period. I think it was a period, probably about a season and a half, where I'd come back from injury, and things just started to go well for me, started to go right, and then obviously to get the captaincy and, to captain a club like St Johnstone for 3 years was just a huge honour, and I felt lucky, to be honest. I was playing with, in the team, you had Martin Hardy, Jody Morris, Kevin James, Stuart McCaffrey, Peter Mcdonald, Stephen Mullen, Gordon Stanich, Paul Sheeran. It's
household names all over the
legends, and if I've missed anybody out, you'd Chris Muller, who went on to, so many appearances for the club, hugely successful, fantastic player, big homer up front, Jason Scotland, Colin Samuel, Alan Main. I mean, listen, the list goes on, and I could keep on going, and it's legend after legend, to be honest with you, and to be lucky enough to be the captain. I had Gary Irvine. When I was lucky enough to pick up a few accolades a year before it, for me, Gary Irvine was Player of the Year that year. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal, and probably bailed me out of a few situations, to be honest. It was just, such a proud moment, that day against Morton, to go on and lift the trophy in front of a packed stand, and just the couple of days after are a bit blurry, I'm not going to lie. Great memories, happy times.
That actually reminds me of Gary Irvine. I remember I used to worked on did hospitality match days on the bar sometime back then. I remember going down by the changing rooms, and there was a yellow vest in one of the changing rooms with just Gary Irvine getting slagged, rotten all over it, calling him like a shit Owen Wilson and stuff because of his terrible hair. Was that for crap training, or who had to wear that?
I think it was a yellow jersey. We all had to you all get a vote, but more often than not with these things, it's been at different clubs, the players tend to round in one player, whether they're good, bad or indifferent. Poor sod ends up wearing it every week, and I can assure you Gary Irvine was by far not the worst player at training. There was a lot worse than him, myself included, but it becomes a banter thing, and these wee things are, they're tools to sort of lighten the pressure, lighten the mood, and big games and maybe coming off with disappointing results. And, these would be things that Owen Coyle and Derek had integrated that weren't there before, but they were vital. Even, listen, we used to play for cakes now. I'm sure getting into any elite club now, turning up with 24 cream cakes, I'm not sure how Pep Guardiola and his team of 100 scientists would buy into that, do you know what I mean? And you had to, obviously, Owen Coyle loved to take part in it, and he loved a can of Iron Brew as well. So, it was sort of at that time where, as I say, the technology and analysis and the well-being, nutrition was really beginning to creep into Scottish football, and that's probably the last of that, to be honest. I doubt very much whether clubs are maybe doing things like that now. I hope they are, in a way, but there's a professionalism now about the game that suggests, we have to play on a wee bit.
Dan's, you may not know this, Kevin, is a big cricketer. And he was always a little bit annoyed that our kits were made by Surridge Sports. If you remember that kit with the big kind of white egg on the front. What was your question? Your big standout journalism moment here, Dan? Go for it.
Well, I was going to say, have you still got it? And he attempted to go to Stirling County's ground and have a little game. It's only down the road from your ground. So how bad were they? Because I've got a couple of Surridge cricket kits, and they're like tents. So how did that sponsorship even came about? I don't know whether players.
I wasn't involved in it. I'm sure it came about because it was cheap. Yeah. Would be the one thing. The best. I don't want to criticise a company too much here, but let's just say that the kits now are far, far more advanced than that, and a wee bit comfier, maybe a wee bit more waterproof. They tended to absorb a lot of water, and I remember that. It was got a bit heavy towards the end of the game. They weren't the best quality from my memory.
Well, if it rains in cricket, they just go for a cup of tea and a sandwich, so they've never had to even think about that when it comes to
great system.
That's
why I play it.
There you go. We'll finish off. So you left Saints, you went on loan to Dunfermline, had a good loan spell with them, and then signed for them permanently. Hampered by injury a little bit during your time at Dunfermline.
Listen, I'd actually came back for a knee injury with St Johnstone. The team had moved on, and I had to accept that. I was 31, and it happens. It was no gripe. There was no fallout with Derek McInnes, nothing like that. As I say, just the length of time I'd spent out injured, after getting promoted, it hampered me, and the team moved on. Michael Dewberry arrived, Graham Gartland had stepped up, there was other players there, and you just, listen, you put your hand up. Do I think I could have run and played? Aye, I do. At that point in my career, I was more mature. I do think I could have run and played and helped to stay in the league, definitely. But as I say, the environment and the whole dynamic of the squad had changed. And my position in that squad had changed, and I think it was a deal best for both. I think for St Johnstone, they had to move on for my sort of era, and I think for me, I had to go somewhere that valued my skill set, and that it's football. And as I say, but I left with only fond memories of the place. Went to Dunfermline, had a great spell there, and stayed. Unfortunately, again, the injury that I picked up at St Johnstone came back, and it was a bitty season. I just didn't get the chance, and to be honest, it went from bad to worse, obviously, for the club at Dunfermline. We eventually went into administration, and it was difficult, and it was difficult not to be able to sort of lean in and try and help the club as much as I wanted to at that point. Jim Jeffries came in after Jim McIntyre towards the end of the season, and we fell short. We weren't ready. The club wasn't ready to be where it was, and that's just the harsh reality of it. But again, listen, it was another club I was treated and welcomed with, and I've got fond memories at Dunfermline as well. There's no many clubs that there's no clubs I've got bad memories at, to be honest. So I've been lucky in my career that managers and coaches and clubs I've been at that, I feel that I created good relationships, and hopefully, by and large, I was easy enough to manage. Not all the time, certainly, but most of the time.
Brilliant. Well, we'll finish up with a couple of quick questions for you. I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate you coming on.
No.
I know this isn't going to work in a podcast, but I can see you now in front of me with a lovely hairdo. Who's doing that? How are you managing that?
Bad, isn't it?
It's all right.
Listen, that's just a close friend who happens to be average to poor hairdresser. he's kind of helped me out and left me with this kind of pineapple in here. So I've only got maybe 3 or 4 haircuts left in me before it falls out. It's receding at a tremendous rate. I've got a couple of wing backs. It's a tactical haircut, as you can see.
Nice.
But I'm hanging in there and I'm trying to keep up with the youth of the day, failing miserably. So
I'm currently looking like Elvis. Look at the nick of that.
Sam, you can clear off, mate. If you're going to start going on about having too much hair and that's a problem, you can fuck off.
Sorry, Dan. I know it's a touchy subject.
Kev, you can take over for him, mate.
Do you still pick up the guitar?
Yes, obviously just for social in the house. That was one of my regrets. I sort of let that become something I didn't want it to be honest. It was a hobby, something I loved doing. And listen, in the wave of success at St Johnstone and winning, and I was injured, it became a bit of a side show, and probably something I didn't need, to be honest, where I was at, but you can't turn the clock back. I've got some great memories gigging and, supported mid-year, for God's sake. It's no bad, I
can live with that.
Achieved reasonable success with it, given my limited ability. But still love picking up the guitar, still love chatting, but it will only ever go as far as the living room, I would think. Not unless we win a title at Stirling, it might get produced.
Nice. And the very, very last question we'll ask you is, which we ask all our guests, what's your favourite dinosaur?
Oh, T-Rex.
That's the only right answer, to be fair. Anything else is incorrect. Well, Kev, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Good luck to Stirling Albion this season when it finally gets up and running. We'll be keeping an eye out on the scores for you. Wish you every success, and thanks again for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
Thanks again, Kev. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, mate.
Bye.
Right, there'll come a time, Dan, when we get a really shit guest. That day has not came yet.
No, it certainly didn't come today, because what a heck of a nice fella. What a really lovely guy. Yeah, there will be some point where we're not just being boring and saying, oh, he was brilliant, oh, lovely guy. There will be a point where we'll just go, someone, arsehole.
He won't be back on.
Maybe not publicly,
no.
But no, what a great guy, what a lovely interview that was. Best of luck to Albion for when the season restarts.
Mon the Beanos. But we must move on, and move on we will. It appears to be our most popular feature in terms of response from listeners. It's George O'Boyle and the Royal. And we're back once again. It's George O'Boyle and the Royal. Where have you seen St Johnstone players out and about? We've had another busy week, Dan.
We have had another busy week. Plenty of you have got your pints, gone and seen George in the Royal, and you've come back to us. What have you got?
Well, I'll tell you what, Jack Stewart, I don't know why I like this one as well, but it's right up our street. He's seen Jim Weir and Sweeney Todd's barber.
There's several layers to that. One of which, that must be the most popular name for a barbers in the country. They've completely missed the point that Sweeney Todd was a bad dude.
He was not a nice guy.
Why would you want to advertise your business for such a villainous character? But I like it. It's a bold move.
My mate Andy, who runs the Perth Triathlon Club, actually messaged me through the week saying that qualify, he's not a football guy. And when Jim Weir was training for his Ironman, he was going along to it. And they were running down Moncrief Hill. And my mate Andy's like, look at this old timer. I'll absolutely smoke him out the water. And he didn't smoke him out the water. No, you will not. He wasn't aware who Jim Weir was. But he soon knew. So he's been spotted at Sweeney Todd's Barber and at Perth Triathlon Club. We've got a couple of Alan Main spots this week. One from David Martin, who messaged in to say he just seen him in the Twatams by himself.
Quite sad, but I'm all right with it.
They went over to speak to him, and Alan Main was not for letting him go. So he tagged along with the boys for the rest of the night.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
As long as they all had a good time.
Well, this is it. And he also, this one's a bit more obscure locations. We've seen somebody. John Lumsden messaged in to say that he's seen Alan Main in a helicopter underneath water.
What?
Yeah. John Lumsden is a survival expert for people working offshore, and Alan Main went through the training course because he obviously works offshore now. John made sure that he managed to take that course. Bit of a fanboy for Alan Main. So he took him on his underwater helicopter rescue segment of his training.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Well done.
There's not much more we can say about that, to be fair. Apparently he was a really nice guy. He signed loads of merch for the boy. You would do, because you're in a helicopter underwater. You will do anything that guy tells you to do.
He's very much holding the cards there. I don't see how we can really add to that. He's in a helicopter underwater. It's blown my mind in many ways.
Yeah, but it's a great spot nonetheless. Craig Taylor messaged in to say he's seen Sam parking up at A&E. And I imagine that'd be a popular spot for seeing St Johnstone players. We just sit there long enough.
Just sit there long enough, Murray Davidson's going to turn up.
Yeah.
You know who would have been the real winner in that?
Go on.
Yeah, whoever was in the A&E waiting room at PRI the day Thomas Cherney cleared David McMillan out. They would be part of football's great mystery.
He's not going anywhere for 5 hours. You had all the time in the world to quiz that guy.
It's still not breaking.
We've got two more. One person who's not giving us her name seen Kevin Thomas in Portugal. She wasn't very impressed, and apparently Kevin Thomas said, "I know you don't like me, but you have to make it so obvious." That was a direct quote.
Wow.
So if you know Kevin Thomas's history, you might understand it. If not, Google it. And we're finally going to finish up with Dave McDonald, who messaged in to say he's seen Miguel Sameo in his back garden.
As you do.
Yeah, this probably needs a bit of qualification before people start phoning the police. His wife, Darlene, who you'll probably know from the club, big Saints fan, used to cut his hair. They kind of got pally, and when he came back over to Scotland one year, he got invited round to the house, and the kid, Ruben and Saul, wanted to play football with him. So Dave lent him his trainers, and they had a wee kickabout in the back garden. That's nice, isn't it?
That is a wholesome tale to round off this week's trip to the Royal.
But if you've ever seen anybody, here we go. Dan's favourite section of the
What
week.
we'd like to know is, where have you seen Saints players? What have you seen them doing? Get all in about it on our social streams. So, for example, have you ever seen Danny Swanson practicing the sacred art of meditation? Or alternatively, have you ever seen Chris Kane telling extended family members that he goes by the pseudonym Harry and plays for Tottenham? Let us know.
Brilliant, as always. Get in touch with us on our socials. And that was our trip to the Royal this week. I'll have a pint. Well, this is probably the most non-Saints related section of the show, but also our favourite. It's shit merch.
Yeah, it's by a mile the best thing we do.
And boy, have we got a truckload of shit for you guys this week.
Oh, we have got some steaming shit coming right your way. Well, I'm actually going to turn to you first, Sam, this week, because you've got something absolutely blinding.
This product isn't even branded Leeds United, but they're selling it in their club shop. And I don't know why, but they've got shelves and shelves and shelves of Ainsley Harriott branded couscous sold in the Leeds United megastore. And I don't know to this day why. I've tried to Google it. There is absolutely no rhyme or reason to it.
I mean, they did hit some severe financial difficulties at one part in their existence, but selling, cupboard food stuff for 90 pence a pop was not going to get them out of their predicament.
Was Ainsley Harriott even a Leeds fan? Do we
No, he's
know?
a big Arsenal fan.
Brilliant. That makes this even more ridiculous.
I've got him. I've seen him on his Mediterranean adventure.
There you go. Ainsley Harriott's range of couscous being sold in the Leeds United megastore. It's a
No, there's nothing to qualify that with, Sam.
no. I don't know where to go
It
with that.
makes no sense, and that's why it's so good.
Tell you what else doesn't make sense. Dan's next selection for the Hall of Shame.
I don't even know where to start with this. Well, in the morning, Sam, I fancy a bit of toast for breakfast. Sometimes you might have cornflakes, sometimes it might be porridge, but on a particular day, you might think, I fancy a bit of toast.
What about the
There's
times I
some
want
days-
some Ainsley Harriott couscous?
Seems more of a lunch or dinner thing to me, but this will be the perfect way to start your day off ahead of your Ainsley Harriott Leeds United couscous, which wasn't even Leeds United. Anyway, so, I just like a bit of butter on my toast, Sam, but some people like, this jam, marmalade, Nutella even. How about having your football club's initials imprinted into your toast? Because if you support Aston Villa, you can do that with the Aston Villa bread press. So what you do, before you put your toast in the toaster...
You put bread in
you
a
get
toaster,
this-
to be fair.
Fuck off, right?
Sorry, being a bit
Before you
facetious.
put your bread in the toaster to convert it to toast, what you do is you get this bit of rubber, which you certainly can't put in the toaster, which has AVFC in it, and you just bash it into your bread. So that you put it into the toaster, it comes out, and you've got everything's toasted, apart from some, bits of bread that haven't been toasted, which spell out AVFC. The most absolutely shameless pile of profiteering shite. The best of it was, though, I tried to have a look for them online, and they were sold out everywhere.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know Brummies are a bit different, but seriously, sort your life out.
The main question I have to ask is why?
And I don't think there's any answer to that question. I believe that question will end up being rhetorical. But would you like to see Saints do that?
Absolutely.
We were slagging it off.
Can you buy
I
other?
wouldn't. I can't even joke about buying that because it's that bad. But an absolute Hall of Fame bit of shit merch.
It really is. The Aston Villa bread press. You have made the Hall of Shame. You've got something else for us. It's a double dunter from you this week.
Yeah, it's a double done. I've got retro shit merch.
Lovely.
Now this was I was reminded of this. So we're actually looking through Twitter and this was posted. Now, obviously the 90s and the beginning of the Premier League in English football was a pretty shameless time for sort of clubs just cashing in on any old guff. But a particular one that sticks in my mind, and I'd forgotten about this until I saw it this week, was Manchester United's Champions Cola.
Ooh.
Now, yeah, obviously you got Coca-Cola, you got Pepsi, but we'll all remember really dreadful pop, dreadful Coke that you used to get from like Quick Save or something that your mum would always get. Now, this was very much in that category, Champions Cola. I remember having sampled it. I say sampled it, we'll come on to that in a minute. Oh my God, it was rotten. It was absolutely bogging. But I'd pestered my mum that much to get, to let me have it, that I felt obliged to drink it. And also felt obliged to say it was nice. The best of it was, I don't even think you could get it in shops or anything. I'm convinced my mum and dad took me to the megastore at Old Trafford to buy absolute rakes of this Champions Cola, which tasted like shit. There might even be a can of it still knocking about in my mum and dad's garage that I might have hid in there when I was a kid. I don't know.
That's back in the day when they would put their name to absolutely any old shit.
Yeah, I think there was even a Ranger Lager as well, but don't quote me on that.
Whoa, now we are talking.
No, I tell you what that was. I tell you exactly what that was. That was a whole league. That was Carling Premier. Because remember when Carling used to sponsor the Premiership down south? Yeah, they made a beer for it that had they made a lager that had like a widget in it. So it had to set.
Dreadful.
For Carling Premier.
I'll tell you who's not dreadful in terms of this podcast, Coventry City.
They are the never-ending, unstoppable train of content.
This is how it spawned the shit merch chat. They released a top to a couple of folk and I had the badge on upside down. And then last week we realised that they brought out a range of screen wash for your car. They've kind of thought about the screen wash idea and they're staying down the track of car safety, which is a very important topic.
I think they're doing a valuable public service.
Now, you mentioned last week that the only people who would see it would be anybody going into your car boot. Now, we're going smaller now. This next product is somebody who would only see it if they're going into their glove box. And this is the Coventry City car scraper.
Wow.
Basically, just your random run-of-the-mill car scraper with a Coventry City badge on it.
Again, it's sort of one of them things. Why? In all fairness, again, this comes back to like the Bolton Wanderers tape measure argument. Because you could get a car scrape. How much is a scraper if you got like a bargain bin shop? About 70p?
If that, yep.
Yeah. I don't know how much they were flogging the Coventry City ones for, but I imagine you're probably looking somewhere about a tenner. This is it. Just stick a football club badge on it, and on you go. Any old shite. But Cov, they're very keen. It's not even car safety. It just seems to be very keen on clear windscreens.
I'd love to see some branded window wipers. I'm going to have a hunt. There's got to be some, surely.
Got to be some.
They'll have them branded, do you remember them eyelashes you get on really shit cars?
Oh, yeah.
So it wouldn't really surprise me if one of these clubs have done that already. But Dan, over to you.
Yeah, so if you've ever seen anything that you think could qualify for this section, for example, a Montrose Football Club branded Combine Harvester seat cover.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It could be out there, and if you know if it is, you know where to come. Okay, so next up, we've got a little surprise for everyone out there. We've got a special guest interview. Sam, do you want to take over here, mate?
We do. We have gone treble this week. We had Kyle on, then we had Kev, and now we've got an absolute legend.
Now, in the long and storied history of St Johnstone Football Club, only two men have ever lifted a major trophy. Dave Mackay in the Scottish Cup at Sardsick Park in 2014. And just last Sunday at Hampden Park, the second trophy in St Johnstone's history, or second major trophy, I should say, in St Johnstone's history, was lifted. And with that, we are so pleased to welcome onto the Dogger Saints podcast, Jason Kerr's mum, Tracy.
Hello, Tracy. How you doing?
Hi.
Oh, you've got your scarf on and your flag still up. Happy days.
Got them. I'm not taking it down.
No, I don't blame you either.
I apologise for my hair. It needs a hairdresser.
Tracy, send a pair of us.
Honest to God. Couldn't look any scruffier if we tried. Thanks for joining us, Tracy. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You had a bit of trouble last week looking at the Facebook banter page about trying to get Premier Sports. Did you get it sorted?
We did. We had to go online, do Premier Player,
Okay.
Chromecast it through the TV from the iPad. We couldn't do it any other way. They didn't recognise my Sky viewing card, so it took me 2 days to try and get through, but I couldn't.
But it sounds way too more technical, way above my technical ability, certainly. But fair play. Did you manage to watch it, or were you too nervous?
I was very, 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 very nervous. I've been off for the whole week since, and done nothing but celebrate. And my flag's staying up.
I don't blame you at all. You keep that up there. So
See, I feel I did quite well because I felt better by Wednesday as everyone else has felt the entire week.
Well, Wednesday, because we had the game again, I was ill watching the game. But I switched my phone off because that seems to be a good thing. That's an omen.
Is that the way to do it, is it?
Yeah, I switched it off against the Hibs semi-final game and the Motherwell game, and we won them. So, and I forgot to switch it off against Celtic, and I watched it.
So that's your fault.
So it was horrible. It was horrible. It was a horrible game.
You were saying off air that you spent most of the time in the kitchen not watching it and sweeping up and cleaning up.
The
Just
whole game.
really.
I just kept pouring Greg a pint and washing the wee bit under his beer hawk thing. That's all I did all day. And I drank all those vodka jellies.
Yeah, they look delicious, to be brutally honest with you.
They were rotten,
But
strong. They were far too...
never too strong. So you still managed to watch every single game?
Yeah. Well, I watched the game on Free Sport the next day.
Uh-huh.
And the funny thing was, I was expecting another goal.
Just never came.
Had you just got that merry that you forgot the actual result?
Yeah, you do. And it's sort of like I do this a lot, trying to push the game. And I do that an awful lot when I'm watching them. And that's what I was doing the whole game. I was still a little bit nervous watching it.
Try to head the ball in the net still. Are you missing getting to the actual games, though?
Oh, I hate that. Because I used to go every second week.
Yeah.
I work every second weekend. And the way I had it last year, I managed to get to all the McDermott Park ones.
Mm-hmm. Just the way it worked out.
Yeah, because I had a season ticket.
Yep.
So the two of us were able to go and watch it. Oh, and I really missed it. I missed the pies and the banter.
No, the only reason I went most of the time was for the pies. Come for the football, stay for the pies.
It's the only reason I've ever been to a football game.
I love that.
So how was Jason after the final then? Absolutely buzzing, I take it.
It was delirious, yeah. I've actually only seen it briefly, just medal.
Yeah.
That was on Thursday because they had a day off after the Hamilton game.
Okay.
But yeah, he's just been, I think he's missing it, the whole euphoria of winning that.
So it would be,
Because, they had to go train the next day.
Oh, a couple of sore heads at that training session, I'd imagine.
I think so. I think his was one of them.
Giving away club secrets already, but no, there would have been one hell of a party that Sunday. That's a real shame that we couldn't have been there. But
because he's got so many friends here in Pennycook, and we would have all been there.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. He's from a big group of friends, and they're all missing it. Greg especially as well. We'd have loved to have all been there.
I bet, but we'll have another day.
I was at the other one. Jason and Greg weren't there, but I was. I don't know how they weren't there, but I got there. 3 tickets from Alistair Stevenson, I remember.
Oh, you ever going to pay for a Saints game? Jeez, you're crippling the club, love.
No, I know.
You're following the Saints, good wee family club.
Oh, it's a fantastic family club. It's really good. They've looked after Jason really well.
Yep.
From the time that they got there, when they were 17, right up until now, they've always looked after.
Up at the Cherry Bank, steaks every night.
But did you read about that? They were eating pigeon as well. I forgot about that. But yeah, Jason was having maybe the odd chocolate cake for pudding, but Greg was having everything. He had the works.
One of our friends actually has the Cherry Bank, Scott Finlay, and if Saints are paying for it, he would have pushed for them to have the steaks every night, knowing him.
There was, I can't remember who it was. There was an adult who was looking after them quite a bit while they were there, because they were still 17. They weren't 18 yet, but and I think they had quite a good laugh with him.
Yeah, they kind of get well looked after, Saints players. Every single player we've had on in this podcast has spoke really warmly of St Johnstone. Not had a bad word to say against the club. So. Well,
Jason actually was spent 3 years at Pete and Angie's Loudon's place.
Yeah.
They looked after quite a few of the boys, and Jason and Greg were there for 2 years, and then Jason's there for another year, and they really looked after him well.
Well, we're absolutely delighted to have you on, Tracy. We're going to try and get a family member on every week, and I'm glad you're the first one.
Oh, was that the first?
You've set the bar very high.
Oh, I hardly.
People might not come on now in case they fear of not being as good as you, Tracy. So it's fine.
And keep on the banter page as well. We love your comments.
Oh, do you know something? I've learned now, like, look at the ones if he's had a bad game. Oh, I used to get a wee bit argumentative at the beginning, but I know now not to.
That's a mother's prerogative, though. You can't.
I know.
You're going to have to look after your wee boy.
Thanks.
No problem, Tracy. Pleasure having you on, and we'll speak to you another time, hopefully.
Okay, thanks very much, and hopefully we'll win the Scottish Cup as well.
And we'll see you at the final for there.
Yeah.
More blue shots. Get them for the boys.
Okay.
See you
thanks very
later.
much.
Bye. Do you think Jason will hear that?
I hope so.
I hope so too. His mum's very proud of him. Bless him. So she should be. What a blooming lovely woman Tracy is, and thanks for getting her on. But that's it for another week, Dan.
It is. We would normally have a match build-up for you at this point, but Saints have got a week off.
Very much required and needed, I feel.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it'll be a great benefit to all the players out there. We're looking a bit leggy this week, but 4 points out of 6 is a tremendous return. So, and a cup win, that was still within the last week. So
A fair point.
we'll milk that for as long as we can. But yeah, I think looking at it now, I think all the players could do with a baby cow.
A wee calf.
A wee cow.
Nice. Wow. Before we go, let's move on swiftly. I got a message from Colin McKay on Twitter just asking us to mention the virtual kilt walk for the Saints in the community. Great charity. There's lots of information about them on Facebook, and if you want to join their virtual kilt walk team, it runs between the 23rd and 25th of April, and if you send an email to admin, that's ADMIN, at saintsinthecommunity.co.uk, and they'll give you the guide to how to register. So have a look on there. There's loads of information about Saints in the Community. They got voted the best professional club in the community at the Grassroots Awards, so well done to them and everything they do.
Yeah, entirely echo that. Hearty congratulations to everyone, and what a fantastic organisation, and what brilliant things they do in the community around here. So, no, great, get involved. All the details are there.
That's it. Once again, we need to say thank you to the producer Lynn, who will cobble this together and make it sound absolutely tremendous. To you, Dan, thanks again for joining me.
Oh, thank you, Sam. Thank you for having me.
I've never thanked you before.
I know, it's nice to be nice, isn't it? It's nice to do things like a podcast. It makes you feel like you have friends.
Nori, again, for doing our YouTube stuff. If you listen to us in the podcast, but you want more visuals with your experience, you can go into our YouTube channel at Dogger Saints and search for the videos. They're all on there.
He did me with some stupid white beard the other day.
He has free personal license to do what he wants. It's his little baby. So if you do want to watch it, you can do it through, if you've got a smart telly, you can do it through that. And then you'll get some nice visuals to go with our silky tones.
No, yeah, just echo those thanks to Nori. Also to the other lads who have been helping us out, and you may have seen a few of the graphics we've had knocking about, the Nick Dasovich for Hall of Fame graphics. Big thanks to our mate Greg for knocking them together.
And you may notice it's not a coincidence that people that appear in the co-coms at St Johnstone with Stephen Watt end up being a guest. So we have to thank him as well for getting these kind of guys on, and they're all willing. So we need to thank Kevin Rutkiewicz, Kyle Burgess, and Tracy all for coming on and speaking to us today. And just a little reminder about Glasgow Saints. You can get at Glasgow Saints FC on all the socials. And if you go to www.glasgowsaints.bigcartel.com, enter their merch store. And if you enter Dogger Saints, you'll get a 10% discount as well, with all proceeds going to the club and all of that then going to relevant causes.
Yeah, tremendous work there for Kyle and everyone. So please have a look. And yeah, we just got one more thank you, and it's the biggest thank you in a lot. Just thank you to everyone for listening. But guys, cheers for listening. Even if it does mean listening to Sam. And thanks for getting involved on all the socials and everything. It keeps us going through the week. It really does. So, big love to everyone.
Cheerio.
Bye-bye.